Imagine you were sitting in the darkness of your home. The night has fallen over the city, shadows stretch across the walls, and suddenly your phone begins to vibrate with a notification that would change your perception of reality forever. What if that notification wasn't about a message from a friend or a family, but about something that would make you question if you were truly alone at home? I remember that day like it was yesterday, when my friend Emily told me her story. She was alone in her house. The silence was so intense that she could hear every creak of the floor beneath her feet, every whisper of the wind outside, and the ticking of the wall clock in the living room. Then her phone sounded with an Amazon notification, announcing that a package had been delivered, along with a confirmation photo clearly showing her front door. The strange thing was that Emily hadn't ordered anything online recently, and when she saw the photo, she felt a chill run down her spine. The image seemed normal at first glance, but upon closer inspection, she noticed a shadow in the corner of the screen. The shadow appeared to be someone taking the photo from inside her house. As she looked up from her phone, the silence was broken by the unmistakable sound of footsteps approaching from the hallway. As she listened to those footsteps, Emily's heart was racing at a frantic pace, and her mind was filled with questions. Who could be in her house? How did they get in? And above all, how were they able to take that photo from inside without her noticing? The footsteps stopped abruptly just outside her bedroom. Emily didn't know what to do. She was paralyzed with fear. Then she remembered a small security camera that her brother had given her a while back. The camera was connected to her iPad, so she turned it on quietly to see if she could capture anything. What she saw on the screen made her blood freeze. The camera showed that no one else was in the house, but there was something strange about the image. The shadow she had seen in the confirmation photo now seemed to be just behind the camera, hidden from view. Emily knew she had to do something. She couldn't just sit there waiting for something worse to happen. So, with great caution, she got up and began to explore her house. Every step seemed to echo louder than the last, as if each noise could trigger something terrible. As she walked, the silence was so intense that she could hear her own breathing. Suddenly, her phone vibrated again. It was an unknown call. Emily hesitated for a moment before answering. Upon hearing the voice on the other end, she realized she was in the midst of a terrifying situation. The voice was low and mysterious, and only said 3 words before hanging up. "I'm inside with you." That was the first time Emily felt her heart could stop. She tried to calm down and thought about calling the police, but something inside her said not to. She decided to try to reason the situation, thinking that there might be a logical explanation for everything. Maybe the shadow in the photo was just a lighting error or a shadow cast by some object. However, the feeling that something was very wrong did not go away. She began to review every room in her house, making sure no one else was there. She opened the closet, checked under the bed, and even looked in the pantry. Everything seemed normal, but that feeling of being watched kept lingering. After what seemed like an eternity, Emily decided she needed help. She dialed her best friend Sarah's number and explained what had happened. Sarah, who lived nearby, offered to come right away. While waiting, Emily sat in the living room, trying to stay calm, but her eyes kept looking down the hallway, waiting for something to emerge from the darkness. Finally, she heard the sound of the front door opening, and Sarah appeared. Together, they reviewed the house from top to bottom, but they didn't find anyone. However, the feeling that something was off remained. After a while, Sarah suggested Emily call Amazon to clarify the mystery of the package. Emily agreed and contacted the customer service. After explaining what had happened, the operator assured her that they would investigate the matter and that it was probably a mistake. However, Emily wasn't convinced by the explanation. At that moment, Sarah had an idea. She remembered that her brother was a technology expert and could help discover if someone had been snooping around Emily's house through her devices. So they called Sarah's brother, and he offered to come and review Emily's security systems. As time passed, Emily began to feel a little safer with Sarah by her side, but she remained aware that something wasn't right. The arrival of Sarah's brother, Alex, was a relief. He began to review the security cameras, the connected devices, and even the router. After an hour of review, Alex found something disturbing. The security camera had been accessed remotely over the past few days, and whoever did it had tried to erase their digital tracks. but Alex managed to recover some of the recordings. Upon seeing the recordings, Emily felt a chill run down her body. In them, someone was seen walking around her house, always staying out of the camera's view. However, in one of the recordings, a hand could be seen entering the image and turning off the camera. The hand was too blurry to identify who it belonged to, but the gesture seemed deliberate and sinister. Emily knew she had to act. Between Alex and Sarah, they decided that the best option would be to install more security cameras and improve the alarm system to prevent similar situations in the future. Meanwhile, Alex committed to continuing the investigation to find out who could have been behind all this. As the days passed, Emily began to feel safer in her home, but the memory of that night remained terrifying. The police never found conclusive evidence, but Emily knew she had witnessed something that couldn't be explained rationally. And although she never knew who was in her house that night, the experience left her with a sense of something always being just beyond what she could see. Months later, Emily received another Amazon notification, this time about an actual package she had ordered. But upon seeing the confirmation photo, her heart began racing again. The photo showed her front door, just like before, but this time there was something different. In the lower corner of the image, someone had written a message with a marker. "Next time, you won't be alone." The notification had been a mistake, but the message on the photo made Emily realize that perhaps there was someone who knew more than they were willing to admit. She decided not to investigate further and moved houses shortly after. Emily's story remains a chilling memory for all of us who know her, a reminder that sometimes the greatest fear is the one lurking in the darkness of our own homes. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to follow our channel for more horror tales. Don't forget to like and leave a comment telling us what you thought of this story. We'll see you in the next video.